There is something magical about bringing old cars back to life. Hearing the engine roar up for the first time of a car that's been in silence is pure magic. But the truth is, the process of getting there can be pretty brutal. Now, I've restored quite a few cars. That Alfa Romeo GTV, well, it taught me patience. My E-Type Jaguar, that taught me pain. My current Alfa Romeo Touring Spider project, well, I think that's trying to break me. And will this barn find Alfa Romeo GTV? Well, it's testing everything I thought I knew about restoration. So today I'm sharing the 10 biggest mistakes people make when they're restoring classic cars. Mistakes I've personally made, so hopefully you don't have to. Because trust me, restoring a classic car can be one of the best decisions of your life, or a really expensive heartbreak. Mistake number 1 is underestimating the cost. You start off thinking, simple restoration. How bad can it be? Well, when I started that 1750 GTV barn find, I had quite a detailed budget, and I sat down in a video and said it's going to cost about £26,000. My recent estimate, if you've been following the series, will know that that budget has escalated to £40,000. And that's because it's never just parts. It's materials, it's paint, it's sandpaper, it's gas bottles, it's tools. And it's always while we're in here, we might as well do those jobs. And it adds up fast, and sometimes faster than your sanity can keep up. But my tip, set a realistic budget right in the beginning and add 50%. You'll thank me later. Mistake number 2 is taking it all apart at once. The old classic, let's just strip it all down, moment of optimism. Because that's how projects turn into 13-year odysseys, like my Alfa Romeo Touring Spider. Now, it was stripped of every nut and bolt over a decade ago. And I'll be honest, it makes the whole rebuild a different kind of challenge. If you can, restore it in stages. Try and keep it rolling, keep it moving. Restore it step by step, stage by stage. Because once it's a bare shell, it's very easy to lose motivation and lose time. Mistake number 3 is not taking enough photos and labeling parts. Because you think, I'll remember how all of this goes back together, but chances are you won't. Now, this is really important for me because I restore many different kinds of cars. So I use a lot of Ziploc bags, labeling, masking tape. I go fully detective mode. Take as many photographs as you can. Because when you're standing there 6 or 12 months later with a mystery bracket in your hand at 10 o'clock at night, you'll wish you had. Mistake number 4 is ignoring rust or thinking it's not that bad. Rust is like an iceberg. What you can see is only the tip, and there is a lot more behind it. If you take this barn find, it was relatively solid when I found it in the barn, but it had a number of old repairs that had more lead filling than actual metal. And what lay underneath was way more than what I was expecting. Now, rust hides sometimes in the worst places. So when you're looking at a project, try and inspect the sills. Try and look at the inner sill, the outer sill. Get underneath the car, inspect the floorboards, the bulkhead. Try and look at as many places as you can. And if you see rust in some awkward places, just assume that is the tip of the iceberg. Mistake number 5 is thinking you can do everything yourself. Look, I love working on my cars, but I have learned the hard way that certain jobs are just best done by experts. Those like welding, carb rebuilding, machining, painting. Sometimes you just need a bit of help, and that's okay, because the goal is to get the restoration done to the top quality you can. So know your limits, because a good specialist can save you both time and money in the long run. Take this barn find. I've got Paul helping me with the welding. A lot of the grunt work of stripping and cleaning and getting it all done, I do myself. But the actual welding is being done by Paul. And he will do a far better job than I would ever do, given his expertise. Again, coming to painting. As I've told you, the car's going into Keith at Painting Classic Cars to have the car painted when it's done. Again, a professional job, far better than what I would be able to do in this garage. Mistake number 6 is assuming that the engine is fine. Just because it runs does not mean it's healthy. So always check an engine, compression, leaks, and oil pressure. You'll be amazed at how many rebuilt engines are hiding tired bearings, poor tolerances. So you'd rather find out early that you don't have a good engine than on your first test drive after a full rebuild. Now with my current project, I'd been given invoices to show that this engine had been rebuilt 5,000 miles before it was parked in that barn for 40 years. Now I really would have had no idea of the state of that engine. But for those again following the series, you would have seen that this engine was completely seized. So I sent it off to specialists Veloci Sport, who have done an incredible job of saving this engine. And I wanted the engine saved because it was matching numbers to the car. And like I say, it has now been completely rebuilt. So I have peace of mind that when the car is painted, it's just a matter of slotting the engine and gearbox back into the car. Now, mistake number 7 is rushing the paint job, because a paint job can make or break your restoration. Now, I've seen people spend years on a restoration and have it ruined with a paint job at the end. If you're doing it yourself, take your time, practice. If you're paying someone, don't just take the cheapest quote. Go with someone you know has the competence, because cheap paint looks good for a month. Now, as you know, this car's been booked in with Keith at Painting Classic Cars in February, so 3 months from now. So Keith, no pressure. Now, another example is my Touring Spider, which took 4 years with a professional body shop, doing the metal work and the paint work, and it looks incredible. And doing it right, it makes it worth every cent. Mistake number 8, I think will hit home for many. Losing motivation. Life gets busy. Enthusiasm fades, and suddenly you're sitting with a project for months or years. I've been there, the Touring Spider project. When I couldn't find rare parts, you lose motivation. But when I found my donor car, it has kicked off once again. But small wins keep you going. That's why I like doing rolling restorations and doing the restorations the way I have in stages, because it's those small wins, welding, paintwork, suspension, engine, putting the car back together, that keep your motivation and keep you going. Mistake number 9 is cheaping out on parts, because cheap parts will cost you twice. Poor fitment, dodgy electronics, poor reliability made of wrong material, and before you know it, you'll be buying exactly the same part again. Spend money on the quality where it matters: suspension, brakes, ignition, electronics. Because at the end, it's going to be the difference between a car that drives absolutely beautifully and one that just looks restored. Mistake number 10 is using the right tools, because you're not going to be able to restore cars like this using a basic socket set, screwdriver, and hammer. Now, the right tools don't just make the job easier, they make it possible. So make sure you buy good quality right tools or borrow them, because it's going to be needed to do a proper job. Now, even after so many restorations, I'm finding with the GTV, I'm still having to buy specialist tools. So there you have it, guys. 10 common mistakes that people make when they're restoring classic cars, some of which I have personally made. But every car you restore teaches you something new: persistence, patience, maybe even a few swear words. But one thing is for sure: when you finish that restoration and you start the car up and take it for a drive, there is no better feeling. And guys, I'd love to hear from you. Which of those mistakes have you made? Have you got any horror stories? Or do you think I've missed some big mistakes in this video? Please let me know in the comments below. So guys, if you've enjoyed the episode, please don't forget to like, please subscribe to the channel. This channel is all about the ownership experience of my classic car collection, where I share it with you guys on YouTube. Thanks again for watching, and see you all next time. Ciao.